Good evening, and thanks for coming out tonight. My name is John Bucher. I'm with LA Screenwriter, and I'm very happy to be moderating the panel tonight. Would you join me in welcoming the creators of the film that you just saw, Gabriel and Renée Felice Smith.
Yay!
Hey guys.
Hi everybody.
Well, let's begin by going to the beginning. It's always a good place to start. How did the two of you meet, and what were the very smallest beginning seedlings of this project?
Wow.
Where we met is we're going to go way back.
Okay.
You want to take it?
Yeah. So 6th grade class elections, Chris and I both ran for student government. I was vice president, Chris was president. He thought it was a complete popularity contest, made big promises, never showed up to one meeting. And
Renée had me impeached. That's true.
He was impeached. He left the student council and I became the president.
That's true.
And that's how we met.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well.
And that was when we thought of this movie. It was right around that same time.
You're doing a lot of work.
Well, it sounds like a bit of a rough start, but somehow you guys managed to find value in each other, in each other's creative work. And when was the first time that you began to co-create something or to create something together? Did that also happen in the school years, or was that later?
Yeah, later on. So Chris is a composer and mainly does commercial music here in LA, and I'm an actor, and I have a really great job on a network show, and we're both very grateful for our work, but we also want to create our own work.
Yeah, so we started working on projects, short films, music videos, things that just to be able to work and to play and experiment and make our own thing with our own voice.
Yeah.
And we did that for about 3 years, and then last summer, almost a year ago,
we were kind of like, okay, so what's this summer going to be? What are we going to make? We're going to write a short.
And when we say summer, Renée's hiatus from her job is very short. So it was too short for Renée a lot of times to book other work. So we started using that time to make our own. So last summer. Yeah,
so last summer, I think I did an episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Well, I know I did that, but I think I talked to Charlie Day there, like on the set, and we were talking about whatever, you know, like what are your plans? What are you doing? And I'm like, I think we're gonna make a feature, and he's like, oh, okay, yeah, you should probably do that. So I don't know. It just, you know, at every turn. We were encouraged to do this crazy thing.
Yeah, also because we made, you know, the summer prior, we made 2 shorts. And we were speaking to someone and they were like, well, 2 shorts, that's like 8 days of filming. Just do that again and you can do a feature. Right. And then thinking of it that way, we were like, oh yeah, we made 2 shorts. It wasn't that hard. If we made 4
really
and they
hard,
were the same story. I mean, this is how we talked ourselves into it.
Yes, of course.
It is hard.
Right. And then once we had this crazy idea, and we had probably like 40, maybe 40, 50 pages, kind of this really super rough outline. We went to our dear friend Dana Scanlon, who
where you at?
Is the man. And he just kind of took us into his arms, and we plowed through, and we wrote the script together, the 3 of us.
In 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks, yeah. And yeah, we outlined it for a week, and then we broke up. We broke up each act, and we took the scenes we wanted to write, and then we came back together, and then I think the original rough draft was like 170 pages.
That's nuts.
It was ridiculous. We knew that we overwrote. We really just had to get any idea out there. Any and every idea to whittle it away and try to find the good ones. So
yeah, and then after giving each other notes and talking through it, Renée and I sat down and we sort of went over the whole script and put it all in one voice, and that's the script.
That was the script. And then we sent it to another dear friend, Rachel Walker, who's an amazing producer extraordinaire and here tonight. And she has produced our shorts in the past, and we sent it to her, and she said, guys, I want to be part of this. Like, you got to do this. Are you doing this? What's happening? So,
and then we were like, yeah, we're doing it in 2 weeks.
I think it was 6 weeks from that point.
Okay. 2 is more exciting.
Yeah, 2 is really exciting. I shouldn't have said anything.
Well, let's talk a little bit about these characters, because these are quirky, fun characters that we really haven't seen on screen before. It's really an original vision of some characters we really haven't seen. Renée, how much of this character is you? How much, is just the creation? Is this secretly you guys? Where did the development of the characters come from?
Sure. I mean, yes, there are idiosyncrasies that I've obviously pulled from, and you pulled from and put into these characters for sure. But
I'm also a small man who played Nintendo and was afraid of big people. So that part.
And I'm a girl who wore a one-piece Speedo for most of her life and probably still does. No. I don't wear bathing suits anymore. Fuck that. No, so, yeah, I mean, it is a lot of us, but it's also a lot of our friends. We're friends with a bunch of weirdos, and we don't ever really see us on screen, like talking to each other and having...
And also, Renée and I, after we patched things up from 6th grade, we are in a relationship as well for almost a decade now. So we are in like a cool, normal, easy, secure relationship, and like on screen, that's super boring.
No one wants to hear about that.
We sort of like it's become an obsession, like watching our friends' dating lives unfold, and like...
That's exciting. That's exciting for us.
Yeah, and like airplane Twitter on our Apple TV, and like watching it and like playing the game.
Not Twitter,
Tinder. What do I know?
Just twittering around.
Faithful.
Yeah, cool. No, and that is really where it kind of germinated from, and what was I going to say?
Yeah, and specifically this idea that we've seen happen so much with our friends who, when you're in your late 20s and a lot of your friends on Facebook are having kids, they're getting married, you're getting wedding invites like every week.
Start to feel the pressure.
People start feeling the pressure, and then they're rushing into relationships. And like date 3, they're like, okay, well, how serious are you about a family? We got to get all this out of the way because I can't waste any more time. Yeah. So we either like go or we cut it off. And that was funny to us.
Right, and we really wanted to make that high-speed romance. That we know is out there and we know happens. So we just kind of took a rom-com and jammed it into 3 days, but heightened everything and surrealized those moments that we can all relate to. The mask peel when we're finally being honest with each other. Well, what happens and what does that look like in our world? Well, the people literally pull each other's faces off, and then they're finally honest with each other, and that's what we were interested in doing.
So, you have this very surreal story. And in a sense, you are taking the modern relationship and compressing it in this very surreal way where we see virtually every stage of a modern relationship in a very short, compressed time. Was there ever a point that you felt like, maybe no one's gonna get this? Did you? I would have worried about that, even though I'm a huge fan of the surreal, in films. But was that ever a concern?
I think we wanted to make a movie that we saw that was true to us, and I don't think early on we talked about the fact that like. Some people won't get this. Yeah. And unless you've been through something like this or know someone who's been through something like this, it might not be easy to understand. And we were fine with that. And when we were, sitting with Dana and breaking the story, we were like, let's just do
Let's
the
write what
story
we
that
wanna
means
write,
something to us,
you know,
and like, who cares?
Let's put our stamp on it. You know, if you're trying to fit into a mold or cram a story into a box, it's usually going to flop. So hopefully what we did is impactful and people can connect with it and see themselves in these people who are flawed and messy and weird and all
Yeah,
that.
and you know, with any movie, some people like it, some people don't like it. But for this movie, there have been a handful of people who have been like, this, I connected to this so much that it was scary, and that's why we made it.
That's why we made that's who we made it for, too.
And then for everybody else, they like it or it's fun, and then some people don't like it or they don't get it, and that's fine too. But we knew that we were going to make a movie that some people were really going to get.
The film feels like a very accurate reflection of sort of the modern YouTube, Tinder, online culture, and a love story that comes out of this zeitgeist that we're sort of in the middle of right now. Can we talk about some of these surreal elements in the story? Because, man, there are some things I will not soon forget. Sally Struthers, the great Sally Struthers.
Yes.
How did you get Sally Struthers to agree to, is that really her ankles? Is that really her voice? What?
Yes.
Tell us.
Well, we just had this idea, you know, for this like impeding? Yeah. Impending doomious mother.
Dana's got the vocabulary.
Yeah, come on, Dana. Where are you now?
Yeah, we had this idea early on. We were talking to Dana that we wanted Liam to have this huge
overbearing
tidal wave
there
of
it
a
is.
mom. Yeah.
Physically overbearing and, you know, just invading every part of his life. And how do we do that? Oh, let's make a 30-foot woman.
Yeah,
let's
and
make her
play to
knock
the
at the
fact
door.
that he, you know, has this size complex that she's sort of given him.
Yeah.
It just felt right that she would have this huge.
She's still treating him like a child.
Yeah.
And we just really wanted a very distinct voice for it. And friend of a friend, Sally Struthers actually lives with a friend of mine and ours. And she was amazing. She got off a plane and came in to record because, of course, our timeline was 3 days to do all of post.
Yeah, we had booked the studio space to record Liam's mom and didn't have a mom until the day before. And we were like, she'll say yes.
Yeah.
She'll probably say
she'll
yes. And that was
probably do it.
She was the only one that we were going to go to, and we were like, she'll say yes when she gets off
got
the
to do
plane.
it, right?
And she can.
She was amazing, and she was so much fun. I mean, it was just great to watch her work. She is really a very thoughtful actor and collaborator. She was very cool.
And physically, the ankles were Renee's mom,
Yes, my mom.
who was on
Knee
set
down.
every day as
VIP.
hair. She was doing hair for the film and crafty as well.
She
and
did
she was
a
like
number of things.
the mom to the entire
She wore
crew.
every hat, and she was, crew mom. She was great.
Super mom.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, it's probably fair to assume that the music of Casey and JoJo has meant a lot to you. Is there
Yes.
a story? Was that a music that was
Yes.
brought you
I
together?
mean, no, not us. Probably we watched each other make out with other people at middle school dances. We're like, oh,
had my
cool,
eyes closed.
awesome. No, you didn't know anything. You weren't watching. Oh, that's nice, Chris. Really nice guy.
No, we when we were writing that scene with Dana, it was the only song that we thought of. It was the first song everybody said, and we were like, "That's the one. That's the makeout song from middle school." And we played it on repeat for hours, just coming up with ideas and
Actually,
and bits for the scene.
I remember I have a very strong connection with the song. I was in love with this boy in 7th grade. Not you, sorry. And it was his song with his girlfriend. And I knew that. And I would I was this little masochist, and I would listen to that song
Oh my God!
by myself.
I never knew that.
That's what 13-year-old girls do. We're really mean to ourselves. It's
Weird.
funny now, though.
So yes, we knew that song very
Is
early
it?
on
I
that we
don't
wanted
know.
to use it, and it was probably wound up being like one of the most expensive things in all of production, but we were like, I don't care, we're gonna do it. It's the only way.
Yep, it's the only way we saw it happen.
And it was gonna cost so much more money, this quick story, to use it for the end credits. And then we were like, well, what if we did a cover of the song?
I don't think you got to hear the whole thing, but basically Matt and I do a karaoke version of Casey and JoJo.
Which was really funny, but also saved a lot of money.
Just do a cover, guys.
Well, speaking of music, the performance from Fuck Dragons is quite memorable in the film. Was that also penned by you guys? Do you have a burgeoning rap career that you'd like to
This
tell
is
us?
great. So Chris and our dear friend Steven Manganero, who was our production designer, used to write similar rap songs at age 18,
Not
19,
similar,
20.
that one.
Yeah. that is one of them, yes.
Yeah, Steve and I wrote that song in my house in 11th
Clinton
grade,
Avenue,
11th or
Patchogue,
12th
New York.
grade, and we wrote it at like 3 in the morning, recorded it in GarageBand, put it on MySpace.
And it actually
Got so many hits.
got more hits than your actual band. That was like the thing. You were like, oh, I get, like, is this what I'm supposed to do?
Actually, this is funny. There were these really cool shows that were going on at H&M when H&M was like super cool. H&M is super cool still. But there were these shows that were going on in the mall, and we knew people who worked there, but only really cool bands played in H&M. And I had a band that I was in that I thought was a really big deal. And then I got an email asking if Steve and I would play H&M.
With your 3 songs.
With our 3 songs. We wound up not doing it, but it was
an opportunity. Whoops.
Yeah.
You should have done it.
Yeah.
Probably should have done it.
Well, I've been saving Chippy till later in the discussion, but
Yep.
I can resist no longer. How in the world did you get a puppet that is this engaging? Tell us the story of the puppet. Tell us about Chippy.
Sure. So one of our friends, another dear friend, is a puppeteer and does a lot of work with Henson in New York, and is just this like guy who is like oozing talent from his every pore. And his name is Spencer Lott. Wow, I really buried the lead on that one.
Thanks a lot.
Anyway,
Yeah, I had worked with Spencer a few times in New York in theater productions, and where I was doing music and Spencer was puppeteering, or he's also a really great actor. But after seeing him puppeteer, we were always, Renee and I both were like, we'll figure out something to do with a puppet at some point.
Somehow it'll work itself out. And then we just kind of designed this character to be the mouthpiece for Beck's insecurity, and for her, anxieties and things that speak to her. And we thought how.
And also, what was funny about that for us was, if you have an imaginary friend when you're a kid, and your imaginary friend is the person that you play with, who's like your closest friend and like a support for you, what happens when you're in your late 20s and you're depressed and you have body issues?
What's that friend
that's your
sound
imaginary
like?
friend now?
Yeah,
That's
what
who
is he?
is talking to you.
Yeah, what's the narrative there? So.
And it sounded like some of your NCIS family came alongside to lend a hand with bringing him to life?
Yes, this was definitely an NCIS, brought to you by NCIS LA production. Yes, a number of people, so many people were involved. Linda Hunt has a nice little cameo. We're so glad that she came down to do that. Actually, funny story, Linda does not like to travel, and she's very vocal about this. She does not really like to leave her gorgeous home, and she shouldn't, because she doesn't have to. But originally, the Dr. Lipschweiss scene was scripted to happen in the desert house. So just the bedroom was going to kind of transform into her office. And Linda read the script and she said, now, about Dr. Lipschweiss's office. And she had this whole pitch where basically she said, like, no, it doesn't happen in the desert.
Yeah, she said, I don't see the character in the desert.
But that was also Linda saying, like, I'm not coming to the desert. So if you can rework this,
right.
I'm in.
And Steve, our production designer, was like, well, what about the fort? And then we had that idea to do this, to transform the fort and build. Because
the fort can happen anywhere once you're inside of it.
So it happened in our living room in our house. And Linda didn't have to go far at all.
Just a 5-minute drive for Lindy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and Chippy's voice
Eric,
also?
Eric Christian Olsen. Yeah, he's kind of the voice, he's that lovable dick character in life, and everybody loves him for it, and he's just, that's who he is, you know? And I was like, who's our best lovable dick? Oh, I know. I know that guy.
He agreed to do it before reading the script because he's just a nice guy, and he was like, sure, I'll do it. And then he read it, and he really got into the character.
I think he was pleasantly surprised and probably relieved that it was like a real thing.
Oh, wait,
and
it's a feature that I agreed to do?
Okay, yeah. Yes, and then Chris Molnar was our post supervisor, Eric Wilson, editor, and
Carrie Stacy, sound.
Carrie Stacy, sound. I mean, there's lots of people
NCIS
we're
LA.
definitely leaving out, but it was very much a family affair. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Yeah. I'm going to ask one more question, and then we're going to take a few questions from the audience. So if you have questions, be thinking of those, and we'll get to those in just one second. Last question before we go to the audience. This film, it hits a lot of different themes that couples in our modern age are contending with. For you, what's the heart of this film? What is the theme that is really at the heart? You know, maybe a simpler way to ask it is, why did you tell this story?
Sure.
I think what we were really interested in talking about is this idea that people need to slow down,
kind of rush into
and
it,
really get to know who each other are, and let their, the last scene with Franklin in the coffee shop when he says, he let his crazy out in a slow drip. That's a real thing, because everybody has shit. Everybody's got shit. Everybody's weird. Everybody's got stuff that they hide. And when that comes out too soon, obviously people
don't show all your cards right away. Mm-hmm. Maybe, you'll build a relationship, build a bond. They'll like you for other reasons, and then they find out you're fucking crazy.
Yeah, or you just sneak one out, and you're like, here's a thing I do that's weird.
How do you feel about that?
Okay, you're still here. That's cool. I've got more, but let's wait a little bit.
Yes.
And that's what we did. I mean, we're nuts, but it took a really long time to find out. And by that time, you're like, well, we're already here.
Well said.
Well, I've been told we don't really have time for audience questions, but I do want to ask you a couple of things here as we're wrapping up. This film is got potential for a very wide audience. Those of us who have seen this film tonight, who want to support the film, who want to see it, gain as big an audience as possible. How can we help? What can we do to support this film?
Yeah, man. You can kind of go on that IMDb and give us a little star rating. You can do that.
Rate it. That's good.
You can also comment on the page. It really does help a small film like this. You think it's insignificant, but it's really not. If there are 10 positive things said, and it's just it's a win.
Go on IMDb. Give it the stars, the good stars. Write something about it. Tell somebody about it. It
can really help our chances with, distribution or reaching a home audience or theatrical. It really can help. So,
And the film played at South by Southwest.
Yes.
What was the reaction there? Did you guys get a lot of great feedback, or what?
Yeah, it was surprising in that in those screenings, you know, it was a super wide range of ages, and it everyone kind of came up and were sharing stories about how they related to the film. You know, oh, my granddaughter went through something like this. Yeah, she went away and then thought she was going to marry this guy and didn't work out. You know, that kind of a thing.
Yeah, and we had a cool experience at South by too. Our first and last screening were at 11 a.m., which in South by, that's 3 in the morning. That's like very early.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, it'll be fine. It's at the Alamo. It's super cool. Our first screening was good. We had fun. Our second screening was at night, and it was packed and a great audience. Really, really fun Q&A. And then our third screening...
Lots of people warned us, you know, like, you know, don't kind of, you know, get your hopes up about the third screening. There's probably not going to be a lot of people left. A lot of people have already gone back to New York, LA, whatever.
And it's also 11 a.m. again, and now it's 11 a.m. 5 days into the festival. People aren't getting out of bed until like 5. So they were like, no one's going to be there. Don't worry about it. And we got there, and
it was raining.
It was raining. And it was sold out.
There was a line outside, and we were like, they're not here to see our film. What else is playing right now? Like, what's going on here? And
yeah, and it was sold out, and it was a great audience, and people came up to us and told us that everyone was talking about it.
And that's why they were there. So it kind of like buzzed around at the festival, and, you know, friends told friends, oh, you got to go see this one. Okay, great.
Right.
So our third screening was full.
So to speak to your earlier question, talk about it, because that helps.
Yeah.
Tell people about it, tweet about it, write in your journal about it. What's that? Oh, yeah, Tinder about it.
He doesn't know what it is.
Yeah.
That's good. That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Give us one funny story of something happening on the production of making the film.
Oh, man.
It has to be about abusing Matt, probably.
Yeah, poor Matt. Matt Bush is here tonight, folks.
Matt Bush, guys.
Yes. Matt, the cocoon, that was a fun one, right, Matt? So the stop motion cocoon sequence, stop motion takes a very long time. We're taking individual digital photos of each and every frame. So
it was like 800 something photos, I think.
Right, for that whole sequence.
And when that was in the script, that was one of the things that people would call us after they read the script, and we're like, well, how are you guys going to do that? I know it's cool, it looks cool on the page, but like, have you given any thought to it? And we were like, yeah, we're going to do it stop motion. We know people who are going to help us do it, stop motion directors, and we're going to do it practically with...
Damon and Cassandra, are they here tonight? They were supposed to, maybe? No? Okay. Well, Damon and Cassandra were the stop motion duo.
And we were going to do it with them in the hammock, which takes a long time. And we told so many people about how we were going to do it, and we assumed we told Matt.
But apparently on the day, he was like, wait, what's happening? Okay, I'm going to be in there for how long? And I'm like, I know, this is the worst. I'm so sorry. Yeah. But please do it.
And Damon and Cassandra are really funny, and Damon is like a little bit of an alarmist, so he was like, it's going to take 6 hours. We're going to get it right. And Cassandra's like, no, it's going to take like 3. And it was like somewhere in the middle.
It was like 4.5.
About 4 hours or something like that. And,
we had a lovely time, right, Matt?
Yeah.
We did. Yeah. But that is one of my favorite visuals in the entire film. So hopefully it, paid off and was worth it.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
Well, there's a lot of people in the audience tonight and who are watching who have projects that they're trying to get off the ground, that have stories that they want to tell. Can you share with us what's the most significant thing that you learned in getting this project completed? What's the best advice you could give to those of us who are trying to get accomplish what you've done here?
I think
Prepare, right?
prepare, over prepare. We storyboarded the entire film. We knew everything, every single shot of the film. We actually have this like old school 90s photo album because we couldn't find a big enough book for it. So it's this like giant.
It's like a spell book.
Yeah, but it looks, it's like a comic. It's like the comic version of the Relationtrip. And if you flip through it, you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, and we went and made the film almost shot for shot. So being first-time directors, going in,
we knew we needed a really solid plan.
Yeah, and we knew we were going to have to prove to people again and again, like, we know what we're doing. We've planned it out, and the best way to do it was to show them, not like, oh, trust me, we know how many shots we need, because people aren't going to believe you.
I'm a very visual learner, a visual person. I need to see it to fully understand it. And I think that was invaluable. Like that process of sketching, and Kristen want to do it. Come on.
Impeached. That's right.
Impeached. That was very good. So very, very good work there. But yeah, just prepare, over prepare. It's that same old thing that we've heard, from the time we're small, but it's so true. It's like once you're there, you want to have your game plan and be really solid. And things are always going to come up.
Exactly. Things come up on set, and being prepared for as much of it as you can be only helps, because you're still going to have to figure things out on
You're still going to be putting out fires every 10 minutes, but it's like, okay, if you have a solid plan to work from, then you can kind of navigate that.
Mm-hmm.
Renee, there's a lot of actors in the audience tonight.
Yeah.
What can you offer to us in way of advice?
Oh my goodness, I think embrace who you are. I think that's my main message. When I cut my hair really short and just committed to being like the tomboy that I really truly am, that's when I like booked my job that I still have now. So I think it's just like knowing who you are, not being afraid of it. I'm not going to be like the blonde bombshell. Like that's never going to happen for me. And I know that, so I think it's just being super self-aware, knowing like, yeah, this is who I am and this is what I can do. Because casting now is very much, it's tough. We're not hired to kind of transform ourselves as much as we'd like to.
But also to that, I think now is probably a time where people are writing roles for the others. Not everyone is writing roles for vampires who are gorgeous anymore. I feel like more and more you see real people
who, are flawed and aren't a size 0. I mean, it's nice that we're finally seeing a variety of shapes and sizes on screens, and it's being normalized. You're okay if you're not that. So it's I would just say embrace who you are. That's my message.
That's good. Well, what's next? What's the future hold? Do you guys have another story you want to tell, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. We just heard for the first time tonight a line in the film that actually now we are developing something similar to that. But we both never realized it or hadn't realized it, and we were like, "Oh my God, this is weird." Yeah. Like, it's a dating, another dating story, kind of, but involving app culture, and dating app culture specifically,
and surrealized and zany like our film.
Yeah, yeah.
Would you guys join me in thanking them for being here with us tonight?
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for coming and, getting here. Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming, and have a good night.
Thank you.